In the world of professional basketball, the journey to stardom is rarely a straight line. Some players enter the league with a high school pedigree, touted as future legends from the moment they pick up a basketball. Others, however, have to grind, fight, and prove themselves at every step. But few have stories as unbelievable as the one of a zero-star recruit who, against all odds, became an NBA superstar. This is the remarkable story of a player who started with nothing but a dream and turned it into an unstoppable legacy. The early struggles, starting with 0 stars and no offers. It's hard to imagine now, but there was a time when this player was considered a nobody. Recruited from a small high school, he was virtually invisible to the major college programs. He didn't have the flashy highlight reel or the already established reputation like other highly touted prospects. In fact, many college scouts simply looked past him, dismissing him as another player who would probably fade into obscurity. While many of his peers received offers from top-tier programs, this player was unrecruited by most, holding no more than a couple of walk-on opportunities. Even as a teenager, he had a relentless drive, but talent evaluators couldn't see his potential. He wasn't tall enough, fast enough, or special enough in their eyes to make an impact at the collegiate level, let alone the NBA. The college journey, a chance taken, and a spotlight earned. With the lack of major offers, this young athlete had to settle for a mid-major college program that was more than willing to take a chance on him. At first, his transition was anything but smooth. He didn't dominate immediately, and early on, many questioned if he even belonged at the college level. But what separated him from the pack was his work ethic and a burning desire to prove his doubters wrong. In his first couple of years, the player worked tirelessly to develop his skills, shooting mechanics, defense, passing, and conditioning. But the real turning point came when the player began to get consistent minutes on the court and showed flashes of what he could truly do. It wasn't always pretty, but his raw potential was undeniable. College coaches saw the determination and heart, and his work ethic started to translate to impressive performances. The NBA draft, the long shot that paid off. As the NBA draft approached, few people saw this player as a first-round prospect, let alone a future NBA superstar. He wasn't one of the top-tier names in college basketball, and many believed that his story would be one of those what could have been tales. But what he had in abundance was tenacity and self-belief, and he wasn't going to let his story end before it truly began. During the draft combine, this player blew scouts away with his athleticism, versatility, and competitive edge. Even though he was still seen as an underdog, his strong performances caught the eyes of several NBA teams. He wasn't just a project player anymore, he was a hidden gem. On draft night, despite the odds, the player was selected by a team in the mid to late rounds, a decision that raised a few eyebrows. But for this young recruit, it was just the beginning. From that point on, he was determined to prove that he wasn't just another late pick who wouldn't make it. He had the heart, the drive, and the raw talent to be something special, proving his worth from bench warmer to star. For most rookies, the transition to the NBA is a tough one, and for this player, it was no different. He started off the season as a bench warmer, trying to earn minutes behind established stars. But every time he stepped onto the floor, he made the most of his opportunity. His hustle, his defense, and his energy off the bench quickly made him a fan favorite. The key to his success, his relentless work ethic and ability to adapt to whatever his team needed. He wasn't the most polished player, but he was determined to get better, and his improvement was impossible to ignore. Slowly, the coach started giving him more and more minutes, and in time, he became a crucial part of the rotation. By his second season, the player began to showcase more of his natural skills. His scoring ability, combined with his athleticism, made him a nightmare matchup for opponents. The longer he played, the more it became clear that he wasn't just a late draft pick. He was a future star in the making. His performances earned him recognition and eventually his first All-Star selection. From underdog to MVP, the rise of a superstar. By the time this player entered his prime, he had silenced every critic and proven that his success wasn't just a fluke. In fact, he was now playing at an elite level, and his contributions to his team's success were undeniable. After a few years of gradual development, he finally emerged as a superstar, earning MVP awards, all NBA selections, and leading his team to deep playoff runs. His story of rising from 0 stars to becoming a league MVP is one of the most inspiring tales in NBA history. He proved that hard work, belief in oneself, and the refusal to give up can take a player from the bottom to the top. Whether it was his unmatched scoring ability, his clutch performances in crunch time, or his leadership on and off the court, this player had transformed into one of the most recognized faces in the NBA. The work ethic that set him apart, training like no one else. One of the defining characteristics of this player's rise from obscurity to superstardom was his unparalleled work ethic. Unlike many of his peers, who might have been content with natural talent or who coasted after getting drafted, this player was determined to outwork everyone. After every practice, while others headed to their cars or to the locker room, he stayed behind. He spent hours working on his shooting mechanics, refining his ball handling, and focusing on his defensive positioning. He understood that if he wanted to make it in the NBA, he couldn't just be good, he had to be relentlessly better than everyone else. And he did that by putting in the extra hours that most players weren't willing to commit to, rising to the big moments, clutch performances that defined his legacy. As this player's career progressed, he started to be known not only for his work ethic, but also for his clutch performances in the biggest moments. Time and time again, he would step up when his team needed him the most, turning what seemed like impossible situations into unforgettable victories. One of the standout moments came during a critical playoff series where his team was on the brink of elimination. Down by a few points with mere seconds left, he hit a game-winning shot over one of the league's best defenders, securing his team's survival in the tournament. This wasn't a fluke. Clutch moments like this became a part of his identity. He wasn't just another player in the league. He was the one that teams looked to when the pressure was on, overcoming setbacks, injuries, and doubts that made him stronger. No career is without its setbacks, and for this player, the path to NBA superstardom wasn't without its own share of obstacles. One of the major hurdles came in the form of injuries. In the midst of his rise, a serious injury threatened to derail everything he had worked for. The road to recovery wasn't easy, and for a time, it seemed like his dream of reaching the peak of the NBA might be over before it truly began. However, true to his nature, this player refused to be defeated. He tackled his rehabilitation with the same intensity and focus that had driven him from the very beginning. Rather than see the injury as an obstacle, he viewed it as another challenge to overcome. In fact, the injury gave him a chance to reassess his game, working on his conditioning and honing parts of his game that were previously overlooked. The story of how a 0-star recruit became an NBA superstar is a true testament to the power of determination, hard work, and unwavering self-belief. It proves that the road to success isn't always paved with 5-star rankings and expectations. Sometimes the most unexpected players rise to the top, fueled by a burning desire to prove themselves and defy the odds. This player's incredible journey from being unnoticed to becoming a league MVP will undoubtedly inspire generations of athletes to never give up on their dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem. If you were inspired by this incredible story of a 0-star recruit rising to NBA superstardom, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think every player has the potential to rise like this, or does it take something truly special? Let us know what you think. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another story about the unbelievable journeys of the NBA's best players. Stay tuned because we've got more inspiring tales of hard work and dedication coming your way.